Brett, come on, man. I know Aztec's #1 for online safety training, but we really should be out here practicing.
I know, guys. I'll be right there. Just let me finish this course on gas detection. Wait. Do you smell that?
Driftwood Brewery, Esquimalt, crafting world-class beer since 2008. This is where beer is made. With care, intention, and respect for the process, every batch reflects the place we're from and the standards we hold ourselves to. And this is where it's enjoyed. Our tasting room, offering a rotating lineup of West Coast favorites and seasonal releases, right here in Esquimalt. Paired with Thai-inspired food from Dumpling Drop, we're open 7 days a week. Driftwood Brewery, great beer, confidently made. Cheers.
Are we on?
We are.
Happy New Year. Welcome to the BC Men's and Ladies Provincial Curling Championships presented by Best Western. I'm Penny Shantz and I am joined by Sean Joyce. Sean is joining us from Saskatchewan and I'm joining you from Vernon, BC. The curlers have finished the last stone draw. I guess we've missed the introduction, but today we've got two teams. And these are two of the best teams, I would say, in the field. This is an important game for them. Both teams are sitting with a no-loss record. So after today's game, one of them is going to have a loss. And so our two teams, Corryn Brown's team, and I don't see, they didn't put the pictures up on the screen here. So let me see if I can find Corryn's. Brown is the skip. Aaron Pincott's the third, Sarah Colton is the second, Samantha Fisher is the lead, and they're coached by Jim Cotter, and they're curling out of the Kamloops Curling Club. Throwing the first stone right now is Team MacMillan. The skip is Kayla MacMillan. Brittany Tran is the third. Lindsay Dubé is the second. Lauren Lenentine is the lead, and they're coached by Nicholas Eden from Sweden, and they're curling out of the Victoria Curling Club. So, Sean, what do you think is going to happen in the first end in this game?
Well, you just never know when you get into playdowns. In a lot of cases, because they haven't played with clocks a lot, now both of these teams will have had a chance to play with them at the trials, maybe a couple of bonspiels, but you will see a lot of open first ends. Now, I had a chance to do one of Brown's games earlier. She had the last rock in the first end in that game as well, and she did similar to what she's doing here. The first rock came in. She's going to play the hit and roll to the corner. And she played the delayed corner guard tactic. So you may see her throw a corner guard on the next one, no matter what happens here. This has been a tactic that's becoming increasingly popular with teams with the last rock. If you play that hit and roll to the corner on the first one, you don't have as many rocks to clean up in the middle later on.
Okay, she didn't quite get the roll there, rolled out, but the house is clear. So Kayla's going to do the same thing.
Yeah, she puts it into the forefoot. They might not be as tempted to ignore it. The advantage to playing that hit and roll to the corner is that even if you make the hit and roll back, you're going to be behind the tee line. Now, this might be in a good enough spot that you may see her hit it, and we might have a fairly open first end. You mentioned off the start, these are two of the top teams. I mean, I said the first game that I did, BC women right now, probably, you could make a strong argument, this is the strongest provincial field in the country right now. You got three teams in the top 10. Reese Hansen sits fourth, and probably the best chance to get, there is an extra spot available at the Scotties this year with Homan going to the Olympics. Einerson became the returning Team Canada, so to speak, for the Scotties, and the other two teams moved up one spot, but that fourth berth, the pre-tournament berths, it's going to whoever's got the most points after the provincial playdowns that didn't win a provincial berth. Well, Reese Hansen sits fourth in the country right now. She's about 3/4 of a point behind Grey Weathers out of Alberta. Kayla MacMillan sits 7th. Corryn Brown sits 8th. I mean, there is a strong chance that 2 of these teams end up at the Scotties. And this should be an outstanding game this morning. This is the first of the head-to-head games between these 3 teams.
Right. I think there's one of them is tonight. Reese Hansen is playing, she's playing one of them, and then tomorrow morning is the other matchup between Reese Hansen and MacMillan, I believe. So when you're talking about points, for those curlers out there that don't understand what CTRS points are, how do you get points?
Well, CTRS stands for Canadian Team Ranking System, and it's a point system that's been in place for a few years. It's been revised a few times, but basically every event you go to, there will be a strength of field multiplier, and that's based on this maybe is getting more complicated than I need to be for the average fan, but it's every event based on who's there. How many of those top 20 teams are there? You'll get a different strength of field multiplier, and that multiplier is used to determine how many points the positionings in that particular event are. So every event they go to, they have a chance to get points, including this event. So with these 3 teams that I mentioned, they're 4th, 7th, and 8th, I think.
Right.
That's not necessarily where they're going to stay, because they get points from this event as well. So you get to the final and lose, you're still going to pick up some good points, because you've got 3 of the top 10 in the country playing in this event. So you've got a very strong strength of field multiplier here.
I think that's great for BC, because I know, and I look out there and these 3 teams, they play a lot of bonspiels, but not necessarily in BC. They play all over the country. I watch them all year, and they do an amazing job. I think Reese Hansen has actually won a couple of those Tier 2 events. And so she's had an outstanding year. But then I looked at the other ones, and they've all had a great year, in preparation.
Yeah, Reese Hansen won the Tier 2 here the Tier 2 was held in Martinsville until the final, where they went into Saskatoon, which is where I'm just a few weeks ago. And so, that's another thing. As they come into this provincial, that's the last thing they played on. They're coming in really at the top of their game, which you're peaking at the perfect time, right? You're going into your provincial championships playing your A game. That's as good as you can ask for. But, Corryn Brown, been to the Scotties a number of times already. Alison MacMillan has had a great year, or Kayla MacMillan, sorry, has had a great year. Like any one of these 3 teams. Again, they came in as the pre-tournament favorites, but that's not to say that any of the other teams were slouches. Now, it has turned out that these 3 teams with a little bit more experience are starting to pull away from the field, but valuable experience for the other teams as well. And it's not to say that any of them couldn't end up here next year again.
And that's experience too. I saw a lot of young teams out there, and the more experience they get in these types of events, the better they're going to get. They're the up and comers.
I know it's always been a challenge out of BC to get to these teams that are going and playing across the rest of the country. Good for them, but it's for the most part, you're not driving to a bonspiel in Alberta from BC. It's not feasible. So it is tough. It's a challenge. There are various areas of the country. I live in an area where we're fairly fortunate. Like the prairies, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, if you want to drive to bonspiels in any of the 3, you can. I mean, sometimes it's a long drive, but and certainly Western Canada in general, from BC, Saskatchewan, Alberta, Manitoba, that's the strength of the curling in this country, for the most part anyway.
Well, back in the day, they used to have aligned their different places. They'd have a bonspiel in Kelowna, then they'd have a bonspiel in the following weekend in Vernon, and then they'd go to Kamloops. So there was a little circuit. So if you were coming out this way, you had 3 places that you could go in a row. It was a lot of time away from home, but these guys spend a lot of time away from home now with a lot of travel. So it's too bad we don't have that type of events coming up again.
Yeah, well, that's a great point too, because when you've got 3 events like that, rather than your teams having to find ways to travel out to get the best competition, you get 3 events like that close together, and teams will come in, and you get exposed to teams from other areas of the country as well. Yeah, we've had that here in Saskatchewan as well, and some of those have gone away, and it's a little unfortunate.
So this is a pretty open end we're having here now. There's just Kayla's coming back in her first shot. She's coming into the house. Corryn will try and blank the end now. Pretty much seen the same shot the whole end.
Yeah, and that happens a lot of times when you get these open first ends. The nice thing about it for the teams, of course, we're playing on a clock here. They don't get a ton of opportunities to do it through the season. A lot of the bonspiels don't use the clock. The clocks themselves, for a lot of events, depending where it is, they'll have to pay to rent them. So that just adds expense. Plus, it's so volunteer intensive to run them. So for a lot of bonspiels, they don't bother with the clocks. And as much as you like to think you're playing fairly quickly, then when you get to play with the clock, you realize, oh, we weren't playing as fast as we thought we were. So, an open first end can help them bank a little time for later on in the game when they have to make some tougher decisions.
So they do have 38 minutes for thinking time, and they get one timeout. But I think they've changed it, so now you can talk to your coach behind the scoreboards at any time, like so between shots. Am I right on that?
As far as I know, you can. Again, in seniors, we don't worry about coaches a lot, so I haven't looked into the rules on that. I don't know what you're allowed to discuss, whether you're allowed to discuss everything or not. Of course, this started and you'll notice it here in the background. This started during COVID, but it is one of the things I like. You've got one coach at either end,
right?
So, and that started with they just didn't want the two coaches together, but so. In the odd ends, as we have it here, it is Brown's coach that is behind the skip. As we come back towards the home end, it'll be MacMillan's coach behind the sheet. So it changes who you can talk or when you can talk to them, because the skip's only going to be talking to the coach at the end that they're on going the right direction. I know between ends they can talk about anything, but they don't have a ton of time either. You got 30 seconds between ends. You got to keep the game moving.
Right. So now we're looking at a blank end here. Corryn Brown is just going to throw this rock through the house, probably get an idea of the line on this, the way she throws her rock, to see if it's going to shows any indication of curl or backing up, or is it straight?
Yeah, and I would expect she's throwing this. Yeah, it looks like she's going to throw it inside out, because you don't get a lot of chances to throw these types of shots in the game, and it's sure nice to get a read on it. They'll just keep it clean all the way through.
And we're finished the first end. Oh, or is there? Yeah, that's
Nope,
the
that's
first
it.
end. So will we be back? It's 0-0. Corryn Brown is blank the first end, and we'll see you in end 2.
The Kia Victoria experience is a different and better way to purchase a vehicle. We believe that the more positive your car buying experience, the more you're going to love your Kia. When we say the right thing to do, we're talking about putting the customer's needs first. It's about being honest and transparent, both in sales and in the service department, and it's also about treating everyone equally. If you haven't considered Kia Victoria, I would say come see it for yourself. You're going to be impressed with the people that you meet and impressed with the product.
Driftwood Brewery, Esquimalt, crafting world-class beer since 2008. This is where beer is made. With care, intention, and respect for the process, every batch reflects the place we're from and the standards we hold ourselves to. And this is where it's enjoyed. Our tasting room, offering a rotating lineup of West Coast favorites and seasonal releases, right here in Esquimalt. Paired with Thai-inspired food from Dumpling Drop, we're open 7 days a week. Driftwood Brewery, great beer, confidently made. Cheers.
Welcome back. I'm Penny Shantz, and I'm joined by Sean Joyce. We are covering the BC Men's and Ladies Provincial Championships in Esquimalt, BC. And the game we're covering is Kayla MacMillan versus Corryn Brown. Corryn blanked the first end, and it looks like they have a few rocks in play this end.
Yeah, expect this fairly often. We talked about it a bit last time. These teams are so conscious of odd versus even end for last rock. Corryn Brown's going to want to try to score this end. Kayla MacMillan doesn't want to see another blank, so she threw the center guard. Brown throws the come around, and now we're going to see these two teams try to jockey for position in the house, which is always interesting. It's all about setting up your angles here.
Right.
This is where
So
I
is
wish
Corryn Brown happy here to take one in the second end? I know you had mentioned.
I mean, she'd like to take two. If she's got a choice at the end of the end and can't get two, she'll blank. But you will see most of these top teams, blanks aren't as easy to come by as you might think. So that they like to get that hammer in the even end, and then the presumption is they're going to have the hammer every even end. So she's going to play a little bit more aggressively to score here, try to set up her deuce. I wouldn't say she'd be happy to take one here, but for instance, if this was the eighth end of a tie game, I've seen lots of teams that feel like, we're good to score an 8. If we take one in 8, force one in 9, we've still got last rock coming home. Even if we give up 2 in 9 after that, we're one down with coming home. I don't know that she'd be quite that aggressive in the second end, but you and I were talking about it off air. We never, our generation never thought about odd versus even end, usually until the last 3 ends. These top teams now, with the shots they can make, and it's not just the ability of the players, the equipment is so much better. The brooms, the rocks, the ice, they have confidence that they can make any shot anytime, and it makes for some outstanding curling.
Right. I have a kind of a funny story about rocks in play. So I was actually coached by Kenny Brown, which is Corryn Brown's dad, and I'm sure he's there watching. And Ken is just is known as Downtown Kenny Brown in Kamloops. He's just an amazing curler, and I've always respected his insight on the game and his knowledge. And one thing he told me on a situation like this was, don't be the first one to hit a rock when you're coming around. Line them up. Well, we played in the senior championships last year in the final, and we had one end where we had every rock in play. I have a picture of it. And I sent the picture after the game. The other team actually stole 2 on me, Sheila Cowan. And I said, Ken, you didn't tell me when I was supposed to hit. And he goes, oh my God. Like every rock was in play around the 4-foot. It's one of the funny things that happened.
You know what, though? It won't happen likely here, but usually you won't see anybody play a hit until one of 2 things is going to happen. Either the team with last rock, the angles start to run against them and they'll start peeling to make sure they've got room to score, or somebody just misses an angle and it leaves a chance to play something in the house. That one's a little short, but she's still got good angle on that red that's in the, she'd like to have had that right on the corner.
Okay, while they're going to be throwing this rock, I just want to give a shout out to some of our sponsors. That these events wouldn't happen without our sponsors. These sponsors, the presenting sponsors for this event are Best Western, Bel Air Direct, Driftwood Brewery, which is a new sponsor, and apparently they're a great sponsor. They have some pretty good beer. and Digital Direct, local based, and AMJ Moving. Have you had a chance to have one of those Fat Tug beers they keep talking about?
Well, I actually don't drink, so
Oh,
I
okay.
have not.
I'm sure there was a few drank last night in New Year's celebrations in Esquimalt, BC.
I'll bet there were, but probably not the teams that had to be out on here, out in the ice at
No,
9 a.m. So
that's right.
we actually have all of the women's teams out here, and just the one men's game. Mind you, that one men's game is the A final.
And it looks like De Jong is winning that game 1-0 over Montgomery. They're playing the second end right now.
This is what I just talked about. The angles in the house not looking good right now for Brown, so she's going to peel the guard. She needs to open things up here. Got it coming back into the house. Actually manages to kill 3 red ones. Not happy likely to leave the blue center guard where it is, but it's still, it creates some issues for Kayla MacMillan. As you can see, that one red starting to look lonely, and there is probably a shot at the blue one just off the center line to the left as we look at the overhead. If you could get close to the nose on that, you could push it onto that red stone.
So Corryn would be looking at possibly just moving those around, jiggling those around a bit and getting that red one so it's behind all the blue ones, right?
Yeah, now, or at least just to create an escape route for it. Like right now it's frozen, so she can't, she could get to the blue on the other side easy enough, but it's just going to jam. Brittany Tran here is going to look to come down to the pocket of those 2 blues. She's got to get another red in a good position now with 3 of them having just left the playing surface. They're going to have to go for weight on this. Good rotation. They should be able to carry it a bit.
Might have over curled on her a little bit there.
Over curled what they had in mind, but I don't mind where it ended up, because that's the more dangerous. Like when they peel this guard, that blue stone is the more dangerous of the 2, and now that red is in a position where she can't really see enough of it, enough of the blue to drive it onto the red in the 4-foot.
Erin Pincott throwing this stone, the 3rd stone for Corryn Brown.
Yeah, she's got nice rotation. I did it was their second game of the event, and at that particular time, she had more rotation on her stones than anybody else on the sheet, and they were able to do more with her stones. Now, ideally, you'd like to be a little bit more consistent across all 4 players, but there's so much curl here in this building and with these rocks that you need to have that little bit extra rotation to hold your line a bit better, and they'll all make that adjustment as the week goes on, but she had it early in the event.
Okay. So now it's changed the scenery a little bit. You got 3 reds in there.
Little bit. They would have liked to have gotten that one out.
So the head ice maker for this event is Mike Merklinger, and he is head ice maker at a lot of the events in the country. These girls are used to playing on Mike's ice. Of course, his dad is Dave Merklinger, and he's my ice maker. And he's there watching as Alyssa Kylo is playing on Kelsey Powell's team. So they're there watching and cheering on the curlers.
Now I wonder, if you're the ice maker's dad, are you watching for different things than the curlers' dads are watching?
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I'd like to get the flop on top of that red stone. The flop on top of the red was pretty good. I don't think they're probably thrilled about the overlap on the 2 blues, because I think if she hits red on the blue, they're both moving. You might not get the second one out because it's going to be very thin.
Well, there's a comment: when there's staggered guards, use them or lose them. So it looks like she's chosen to lose them.
I think part of it here also has to do with the fact that she doesn't have last rock, and they weren't able to make the double in the last one, so that blue is sitting in the back 12-foot. you start to let too many blue rocks pile up, and there's always the possibility they could end up on the scoreboard.
That's right. And that's what
Oh,
Corryn wants.
our rock counter has started to fail on us. I'm not sure how we got 6 rocks to 4 left, but skip rocks left to come. She can kill one for sure, and at least move the other one off the top of her own stone. Now, the danger here is going to be, where do the reds end up? Like, there is a chance you could leave a triple off this.
Kayla's first rock. Sweeping it hard.
Big weight, hoping to kill that second. Oh, it didn't even touch.
Oh, okay. Red is still sitting 1, but those are pretty lined up.
Yeah.
Corryn's got to make a decision here.
Two reds should go easy. I mean, a nose hitter is slightly on the center line side. The top one goes, and it'll go over the top of that one in the back 12. The one in the 4-foot goes. The question is going to be, can you break the other 2 up?
It would be
The
nice if
shooter's
she could hold her shooter in here.
Yeah, she should be able to hold the shooter. But she does, I think she wants to roll off a little bit. You don't want to leave it in that same line. She'd like to be able to get rid of the red later.
Yeah.
What I'm not sure is, and I don't know what you think, Patty, I mean, they're not dead lined up. When she hits this, will that red stone in the 8-foot, will it pop off the top of that blue stone so she can get it out on the next one? And if it does, then the fact that you got 3 blues sitting around the outside with only 1 red in the house, Millen's only got 1 stone left to play, and there may not be an obvious double there. She's got to be really conscious about the possibility of a big end here.
And Sean, I noticed back in the background there, Kayla is talking to Nicholas Adine on what her next shot's going to be.
Yeah, well,
they were having a deep discussion.
If you have to talk about angles, you're not going to find a better one to talk to than Nicholas. A little thin on that one.
Yeah, little error there.
I'm not hitting that. I'm throwing a guard. You hit that back rock, she just hits red onto blue onto red. And even if she makes that, it's probably only for 1.
That's
right.
But
if you guard this, you might be stealing this end. Like, how does she score? I guess you'll have to run the guard back, right?
Yeah, that will be the shot.
So this is one where you actually can afford to have this guard a little bit longer. Put it between the 2 logos out there.
Yeah, halfway.
Yeah.
Tighten your eyes a bit. Well, that was a bonus for her there.
Yeah, I'm sure they weren't expecting it to get missed that way, but it was one of those things where Corryn probably in her mind, and we talked about it, she didn't want to stay right there because then she wouldn't have had a shot for the next one to get that red out, and maybe took either a little too much ice or maybe threw it a little too positive and rolls out. Didn't even kill the back one. This is a steal opportunity she didn't think she was going to have.
Oh, they're not touching it. Oh. Looks like it's going to be okay there. Curl a little bit more.
Yeah, they'll finish here. There's a nice spin at the end.
Okay, so she's going to either play that straight. Yeah, and she is.
Yeah, it's all she's got.
Automatic. Last shot in the second end, Corryn Brown. Facing 1 on the button. She's got a blue one in there. She can hit this straight back. She'll score 1. So to Kayla MacMillan, she's accomplished. She's forced Brown to take 1. Ideally, I guess she'd want to steal. But forcing her to 1 isn't the end of the world this early in the game.
Yeah, I mean,
she gets the hammer.
Honestly, there might be a way to get 2 here. It's hard to say, not with that weight though. She's just throwing it to get the single. Got to be very close to the nose on this. She's close to over curling.
She is. So it's a steal of 1 for Kayla MacMillan. And we are finished the second end at the BC Men's and Ladies Curling Championship.
Welcome to the rockshop.net, the official store for the Grand Slam of curling. Whether you're looking for the best hats, stylish clothing, fun toys, or unique accessories, the Rock Shop has it all. Shop online anytime at therockshop.net for exclusive Grand Slam of curling gear, or come see us in person at your next event. Therockshop.net, where fans find their favorite curling gear.
Aztec Safety is #1 for online safety training.
Aztec Safety is the proud sponsor of the Aztec Safety Challenge, the #1 event on the World Curling Tour.
And Aztec Safety has been a proud sponsor of Team Jacobs on our quest to represent Canada at the Olympic Games.
Welcome back to the BC Men's and Ladies Provincial Curling Championships presented by Best Western. We are playing the third end of this game it's a round robin game between Kayla MacMillan from Victoria Curling Club and Corryn Brown from the Kamloops Curling Club. The game is Kayla MacMillan scored 1 in the second end. She stole it, and they're now playing the third end. What do you think, Sean? How's this one going to play out?
Well, I mean, we've seen Corryn Brown before have the preference for the delayed corner, and we don't get to see the first couple of rocks in the end while they're in the commercial break. This looks like she's playing the delayed corner right here.
Is that because that center guard isn't on the center line and it's a little bit high?
They played it. They played it right away. Yeah, that was actually the first 2 stones of the end. Yeah, that first center guard's not in a great position. I guess one of the things we should remind people, the no tick zone that's been around for a couple of years, you want to get your stone on the center line, and preferably tighter to the rings than that center guard is. It's anything you get around a guard that high, you can probably get at it with hack weight with as much finish as they have with these rocks.
Right. So if it's on the line, you're not allowed to remove that stone off the line. Well,
That's
she's
right.
A little bit, again.
Well, but and I didn't see the call, but now you've got a problem when the first one's not well positioned, and you got to throw the second guard. Now, are you going to throw the second one to touch the center line, or are you still going to try to line up your 2 guards? And it looks like they've decided to line up the 2 guards, which will make the double peel a little bit more difficult later.
Right.
Can't play it yet, but I mean, that's the thing. These teams at this level, they're always thinking ahead. It's okay. We know eventually Corryn Brown's going to want to peel guards. We got to make that difficult when she can. Corryn Brown knows she can't peel it yet. They're going to try to come around it so that you can't bury a good one.
Kind of choke it off a little bit there.
Yeah.
You can see a piece of that.
This is what I thought she'd play, though. That's a little higher than Brown would have liked. She can come around. Now, these are the shots, and I admit I haven't had a chance to watch a lot since the game that I did earlier in the event, but these shots were very difficult early in the event. They were finding that as you got out wider, you really had to pay attention to, how long has it been since we've been out there, because it does get heavier out in the wings. And they jumped the brush on this one right away, too.
It's like maybe she was just a bit tight on that throw.
And not
curled.
the weight.
Not enough weight.
Yeah.
Just want to mention that all games are streamed through Curling Stadium and can be viewed on the Curl BC YouTube channel as well. There's some A final in the men's side. The men play a triple knockout format, so the A final in that is being played right now. The ladies play an 8-team round robin with the 3 teams making the playoffs at the end. So they've got 2 different formats going here. They also have the U20s that are playing in the curling club next door, Esquimalt Curling Club. It's a beautiful facility, the arena, and then there's the curling club is attached to the other side.
Yeah, I was talking about that a little bit in the game that I did earlier in the event. Of course, I'm not that familiar with the facility, and if you go onto the website, and I think it was even the Curl BC website, they have a video walkthrough of the building. An outstanding looking facility. I thought it looked pretty much brand new. My broadcast partner at the time, Dave Schmel, looked it up after I said that. It's actually 1960. So they've either done some renovations or like they've done some upkeep on this building. It looks fantastic. If you have the chance to go down, we can show you one game at a time. You can pick up the feeds from the other ones. But if you have the chance to be there in person, nothing beats showing up in person for these events.
And I was there a few years ago when they had the same facility and walked. I had a two-minute walk to the games. My son lives pretty close to there. And it was nice. The weather was great. I think it's 6 degrees in Victoria. I don't know, Sean, what's the temperature in Saskatchewan right now? Minus 15?
Minus 18. Thank you very much for pointing that out.
Well, I'm just back from Ontario, and it was a little bit of a blizzard there, too.
We had the blizzard last week. We had melting 2 days ago, which is weird. And now it's minus 18, which we're not complaining about minus 18 at this time of year.
No.
I have to do provincials here in Saskatchewan next week, and we traveled on site to do those ones. And we've already looked ahead at the forecast because we've had minus 40 weather before when we do that. This year, we're all in that mid 15 to mid 20 range. So yeah, those are comfortable temperatures for us.
Wear your shorts there.
I could. I'm probably not going to, but.
Well, Corryn Brown looks like she's got this set up pretty nice so far.
Yeah.
So we're down to thirds rocks. And Corryn has 2 in the house. Just have to take another look at that.
Yeah, so Brittany Tran looking for the run back here. If this is thin, it could come off of her own. No, she's okay.
Oh, and there we go. So she did leave. We do have 3 guards there for Corryn Brown. But what a great shot that Brittany's made.
Look at that. A good enough shot. She queued up the replay machine.
She gets a replay.
Extra
Upturned
coverage.
throw.
You feel sorry for the leads. They never get replays. Came up just enough. You could see it start to make that move at about the halfway point. Catches just enough of that stone to move the 2 in the house.
Great shot. So Corryn will try again to come around those rocks, and oh, this one looks like it's hanging out there a little bit.
Gets the bonus tick and is still going to end up behind cover.
A little tick and roll, but it's not in an ideal position.
It actually comes out past the guards. She's calling for the draw, but somebody from the hacks is going to point out we can see all of that. No, she's still going to play the draw. This is a gutsy call. You start ignoring your opposition stones when they've got last rock. This can turn into 2 in a hurry.
Final rock for third. Kayla MacMillan's third. Trying to get it in the 4-foot area, I would think, as top 4-foot.
This one's running too. It's a long ways out there.
Oh, it did this. Oh, she just got it by.
If the guard was in the same place, it would have rubbed. But
She
now,
got
to
a
what I
great
was
shot
saying
out of that.
earlier,
It really came at the end.
yeah, but with as high as those guards are, I mean, look at it. She almost touched the outside blue one. I think you could get to that with hack weight. She's not going to try it. She's going to peel a guard for now.
I think I like the peel there, especially with that, with a little more weight. It was hanging out there, so this might be a little safer. Open it up.
Well,
She's successful. So now,
Yeah, I don't like this. If you weren't going to hit it on the last time, you shouldn't hit it now, because what's going to happen? You make this hit. She's got the hit and roll behind cover off that
She does.
open stone in the 4-foot. I think you replace the guard and force Corryn to make a decision. You could hit this on the last one and force the single, but right now you're leaving a more dangerous shot by not guarding that stone in the middle.
Okay, so I'm thinking Kayla MacMillan probably has a 3-shot process, right? She's looked at that first shot, said, let's guard it the first time, or let's come around it the first time. The second shot, we'll hit it if we get the chance after she peels the guard. A lot of teams use that.
Well,
Thinking
maybe.
3 shots ahead, right?
Yeah,
I hope
but
she's got 3 more.
she's thinking about misses then, because this is you're giving up a shot for 2 as soon as you don't guard. She makes the hit and roll. There's nothing you can do to stop her from scoring 2. This rock's actually going to hurt you if you stay right there, because she can roll into it. That's actually probably better, because now if she makes the double, she's got to stay right there. It's a nose hit to make the double.
Right. She can't get that hit and roll behind.
She could try it with bigger weight and try to roll behind the corner. That's probably not a bad shot, as long as you don't roll out. Yeah, we didn't really see them talk about where they were trying to roll on this. The nose hit makes the double, but then you're allowing MacMillan to play the hit and roll underneath cover, and you'd be forced. It's a tough, I mean, you're talking about a 5-foot roll to get behind the corner guard, and you still have to make the double.
And we do know that a hit and roll is one of the toughest shots in curling, the perfect hit and roll.
Well, yeah, and that's when you're just talking about making she still has to be conscious of making the double. You added an extra element into that.
Well, she's holding it. She could have been a little tight there.
Yeah, she's not getting the double, and she's not staying.
Okay. Little error there. Kayla has an opportunity now.
Yeah, it's another steal
Come in there.
opportunity.
She guards this perfect. Corryn only has 1 rock left, and she's got 1 on the button.
Yeah, it's going to be an angle run in on the blue guard, probably. You could almost take that away, too, if you get the guard in a perfect position here.
Right. If you had your telestrator, you could show us exactly where that rock would be.
You just join in the crew that's teasing me about that. Like, she's got to get to probably her shooter here has to touch center. If she's a little off the center line, there's probably still a port to come in. Although I don't think you could blank. She'd probably, if you're making in that port, you're probably staying for 1. But if she touches center, I don't think the port's big enough. She can't draw to beat it. Just doesn't look light. If you're in the ring, she tries the double. Oh, it's coming down. She's fine.
Perfect guard. Now, can you get around that and get to shot rock?
Yeah, it did spin over a little bit at the end. She only needs about back 4-foot weight to move it far enough to be shot. The tricky part here, and probably what has them worried, is where do you put the broom? Because they've tried a few come-arounds, and everything has stayed on that outside corner guard until the very end, and it still ends up buried. So when you need to throw weight to move it, now where do you how far in do you have to move the broom? This is going to be a little bit of a guess on ice.
And they might be a little bit inside that path that they were throwing, where it was hanging out there.
Yeah, they definitely are. Yeah, that's a good point. This might run completely different. If it starts to curl earlier, they might have a hard time getting it by.
So this comes down to, you had mentioned earlier in this end that Corryn had the opportunity to maybe play this type of a shot, and she opted to not do that. I think it was Corryn. Must be close. The brushers are a little bit of clean, a little bit of brush.
Yeah, it's moving. Has she got the weight? Line's going to be great.
Looks pretty good. Does she have the weight? It's a great shot to score 1 in the third end. So we have a tie game, 1-1 after 3 ends between Team MacMillan, Team Brown, BC Men's and Ladies Curling Championships.
Aztec Safety is #1 for online safety training.
Aztec Safety is the proud sponsor of the Aztec Safety Challenge, the #1 event on the World Curling Tour.
And Aztec Safety has been a proud sponsor of Team Jacobs on our quest to represent Canada at the Olympic Games.
Driftwood Brewery, Esquimalt, crafting world-class beer since 2008. This is where beer is made with care, intention, and respect for the process. Every batch reflects the place we're from and the standards we hold ourselves to. And this is where it's enjoyed. Our tasting room, offering a rotating lineup of West Coast favorites and seasonal releases, right here in Esquimalt. Paired with Thai-inspired food from Dumpling Drop, we're open 7 days a week. Driftwood Brewery, great beer, confidently made. Cheers.
Welcome back to the BC Men's and Ladies Curling Championships, brought to you by Best Western. We're at the Esquimalt Curling Club in Victoria, BC, or in Esquimalt, I guess you could say either. Our game we're featuring is Team Kayla MacMillan from the Victoria Curling Club versus Team Corryn Brown from the Kamloops Curling Club. And we have a close game. It's 1-1 after 3 ends. Corryn making a great shot in the third end to score her 1. Kayla MacMillan now has the hammer going into the 4th end. Sean, what do you see happening this end?
Yeah, well, Brown started things off with the center guard. I have to believe they wanted it a little tighter than that. So Kayla calls for the come around. I have to believe they wanted it a little deeper than that. A rock in the 12-foot with ice that curls like this, it's essentially just a guard. So Brown's going to try to come around it.
You know what? I have to agree with you on that guard in the 12-foot. I played third for Marianne Arsenal, and that used to drive Marianne crazy if there was a rock in the top 12-foot.
Well, when you got this kind of curl and especially the finish that these rocks have, that rock is still just a guard. Like, honestly, if you needed to, you could come around a rock in the top 8. The only thing about it is because MacMillan's got last rock, there's always the chance that stone in the 12-foot could end up on the scoreboard. But she would have liked it deeper. Brown would have liked that draw deeper because now there's a chance for Kayla to, deal with that cluster in the middle. She can push the red onto the blue. Not looking to kill anything here. She wants to keep both reds, the shooter and the raised stone, in the rings, but she can get everything out from behind cover. And early on, at least in this 4th end, that can, things are going to start to look pretty MacMillan-ish. Now, you got to get by the guard, though. That's in the no-tick zone.
MacMillan-ish.
MacMillan-ish.
That must be a Seanism.
I make my own words every once in a while.
That's pretty good.
So remove that stone from the center line. You cannot do that in the first 5 rocks. It goes back. The shooter comes out of play, and advantage back to the Brown team. They can try to do something. Again, she doesn't like those 2 rocks that close together because it gives MacMillan something to do. So she's going to try to tap the blue one. This is the early parts of most of these ends. It's all about manipulating angles. Now, usually the way we talk about that, it's somebody comes to the top of the 4-foot and then it's freezing on the corners. We had a couple of draws come up short now, and that just changes the way they have to manipulate angles, but it's still, they're all trying to set up their own better angles.
Again, I
Good.
see Kayla after holding the broom on the last shot. She went right back to Nicholas Edin. So they have a big communication going on there on what he wants her to do.
Well, every time you miss a shot, it changes the game plan.
Yeah, exactly.
Seeing what that tap does now, not only do you have shot rock, but now that the blue stone that's in the 12 foot's in front of the red, so she can't make the same shot that she tried on the last one. She's going to peel the guard. They managed to get 3 of them moving the last time they did this. Hard to do that without killing their own this time. Got them all.
She did get them all. What a great shot. See that replay on that.
Even a second gets a replay. It was always going to be tough, like just because the blue and red were so close together. She was going to get all 3 blues. It was probably touching the side of the red. As you can see, just touches it, but touches it enough that, or just enough that it still comes straight back and takes that stone off the 4 foot.
Okay, if you were scoring her, Sean, would you give her bonus points for that shot?
Do they still give bonus points? Yeah, that's a bonus. That's a bonus point shot if you're still using that system. Yeah.
I'd give her bonus points for that shot.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But I thought the official scoring.
No, I don't.
And I've never done the scoring, but I think they got rid of the bonus point thing. This is an interesting call. She could go after that one directly and then roll the shooter into that stone that's just off the rings, try to get a biter out of it that way. The center guard worries her more, so she's going to try to play the run. And get a couple of things out of this, and the shooter might roll to a corner guard. This is over curling, though.
Okay. But she has her corner guard.
She does.
We'll see what Corryn does here. She's going to come around here.
This is a good example of what I was talking about, though, with those stones in the 12 foot that could be a guard. It's easy to come around them. If you're just looking at the house from the hack end, it looks more natural to come around the outside because of the stagger on the 2 stones. But 2 problems with that. You have to go out wide, which has been a weight issue here because the outside edge doesn't get used as much. And plus, you can still easily bury around a stone in the 12 foot on this ice. If you get the line right, it will hook hard at the end. A little offside sweep trying to make this curl.
She's a little bit deep too.
Yeah, I think that was probably the biggest part of the problem, just too much weight.
That gives Kayla an opportunity to hit that front one, roll to the open side.
Probably could, if it overcurls, she probably could make the double, but I don't think she's in the rings if she does that, and then Brown will come around again. I don't think he gets shot off this, but you roll to the corner in the rings. It's a tough one for. Oh, she might be able to get shot. No. It's
But
tough.
I don't know. I don't think Corryn will come around that corner guard.
Yeah, that corner guard's not very good for her. It's tough to ignore this one, and then no matter what you do, no matter where you end up with this, there's a chance Kayla MacMillan plays a draw on the next one.
She might come around the corner guard.
Yeah, if you're going to get forced, you may as well get forced to 2.
Ideally, Corryn would want to roll in a little bit, I think, on this shot. She's not going to.
Yeah, she would like to be full 8.
She's not going to use her corner yet.
Still thinking about trying to keep the blank alive. If you make the hit and roll over somewhere in front of that blue one at the back, there's a chance for a jam. or a hit and roll out where the blank's still going to be an option.
And Sean, is that because it's the fourth end right now? So later on in the game, would she have gone around that corner guard?
I'm wondering if it's just the fact that the corner guard might be a little too high.
Okay.
If that corner guard was tighter, you come around it and it's hard to chase around it. It's a pretty long corner guard. If you make it really good on this ice with these rocks, you could probably chase it out. She is going to have to make a decision on her first one, though, because you're not getting back to a... You needed to make that roll to get back to a blank opportunity. You're on to skips first. You're not going to have a chance, not likely, to get back to a blank.
Well, they banked some time in this end as well. Both teams
Yep.
are sitting really good with time. Normally you take your time and you divide it in half. And after you finish the fifth end, you should be pretty close to that. If you're not, you've got to bank some. And both teams are well ahead in time.
Yeah, we had a fairly open first end, and as you said, this one's been fairly open as well. So that's given them that chance. But you know it's coming just because of the way these are two solid teams. You know it's coming where we're going to have an end with rocks in play, and it's going to burn through some of that thinking time because they're going to have to examine some angles.
Okay, a nose hit there. So now the decision.
Yeah.
Is she going to freeze to that back one?
That would be my tendency to think. It's hard to come around that corner into a good spot where they can't chase it out. She's talking about hitting and rolling off the back when I don't like that. That's the same problem. But if you freeze to it, even if it's not a perfect freeze, if Corryn Brown has to blast it out, you still might be back to the blank. She might make a mistake trying to hit it. If you're playing this hit, it's got to be a big roll. You've either got to get on top of the blue or even all the way in behind the corner. Force at least a more difficult shot for Corryn Brown. And that's tough. We talked about it last end, how these hit and rolls are never easy. Now, she's not having to play a double here, but to get in front of the blue stone, it's a 5-foot roll. To get behind the corner guard, it's close to 7. This is a long roll.
And would it be deep? Would it give Corryn the opportunity, lots of room to come around that with a tap shot and take it out?
It'll be deep enough to do that anyway because the guard is so high. Still, it's a finesse shot. You can at least force her to play something not quite so open. Ooh, that was a big set.
It was.
Quiet weight, though, should come up. The problem with quiet weight is it's hard to get a big roll with that.
Well, she's getting it. She will be sitting shot rock behind the corner guard.
Yeah, if anything, it poked out a little bit on the other side. You hit a stone at the top of the 12-foot and it almost rolled too far to the back to be shot rock. I'm almost betting she's going to change turns when she gets to the hack.
I know, that just looks like tight ice to me.
Well, it doesn't look
And
like
we haven't
to me,
played that way.
It doesn't look to me like the easiest way to get at it.
No.
It'll go. I mean, it will go. You have to believe when you
It
sit in
does
the
look
hacks.
easier coming with the out turn.
Yeah.
That rock. But maybe she prefers her in turn here. Feels confident. It's a long guard. Lots of room. Just cleaning it.
Yeah, they're working
They're
to get by
sweeping
the
it.
guard.
Oh, she just ticked the guard. There was no hesitation when she got down in the hack that she was going to throw that rock. I don't know if as a skip, I might have gotten the hack and looked down there and went, oh, that out turn looks a little bit easier.
Yeah, it happens all the time, right? You get down to
Right.
the hacks and realize that the other turn looks a little better.
Or your sweepers, they might say, did you think about the out turn there? Might have been a better call. So what's the call here now? What's
Just the
Kayla,
open
just
draw.
a draw for 2?
Yeah, straight draw. Not even worried about the backing. She's got enough ice. This is a straight draw to the pin.
I did see Kayla throw a rock yesterday where she didn't come from the outside into the button for her two. She actually threw from the center line out, and there was actually another rock in play. I was surprised at that.
Yeah, I didn't see the particular shot, but you'll see it every once in a while, especially early in a competition when you'll take, well, we know this path and this speed, but, you know, we're 3 and 4 games in for these two teams now. They feel pretty confident, I would imagine, by now with all the paths. As long as they can avoid going out wide, because that is where it gets a little heavier. She's got a nice one here.
Kayla picks up her 2 points. So after 4 ends, it's 3-1 for Kayla MacMillan over Corryn Brown going into the 5th end.
When I was younger, I thought purpose had to be big, like changing the world. But then there's the little things, like fueling someone's car before an early shift, or helping someone find the perfect bottle to toast a special occasion, making sure the shelves are full so a family can cook dinner, so those kids can have their favorite treats, like giving back, like making everyone's day just a bit better. Maybe that's exactly our purpose.
Developed over a decade in collaboration with the finest ice makers this side of the Atlantic, the Pebblehead PB5 is nothing short of a triumph of sophistication and craftsmanship. Weighing less than half its lumbering copper predecessors, yet boasting 10-fold their durability, the PB5 delivers perfect, consistent ice, time after time. The PB5 by Pebbleheads.com, the apex of ice-making ingenuity for the roaring game of curling.
Okay, we are back to the BC Men's and Ladies Curling Provincial Championships in Esquimalt, BC at the Archie Browning Sports Centre. We're covering Team Kayla MacMillan versus Team Corryn Brown. Kayla MacMillan was able to pick up 2 in the 4th end to take a 3-1 lead. Corryn Brown now has the hammer going into the 5th end. I'd like to also just mention a few other sponsors here. We have platinum sponsors for this event. We can't have these events without our sponsors. Kia Victoria and Peninsula Co-op are our platinum sponsors. We also have government and community sponsors. Greater Victoria Sports Tourism Commission, the BC Government, Via Sport, and the Township of Esquimalt. So thank you to our sponsors.
Yeah, you also see them out on, not the sheet that we're on, but the logos are out on the ice. And I like that. It's a nice addition to, you know, the houses look different than they did when my generation was playing, but I think it's been a nice addition. And it's also interesting how, again, we've only got the 2 logos on our sheet between the house and the hog line. But it's been interesting watching over the last few years when you get enough logos out there, the curlers will actually start to use them as landmarks, which,
right,
you know, extra bang for the buck, I guess, for the sponsors. But
yeah,
it's interesting when they start, you know, put it on the A in Victoria, you know, I enjoy it. I thought you were going to mention, because I noticed on the back bumper, the 50-50 raffle.
Oh, right. Yeah. So if you're feeling lucky now in the new year, you can go to curlbc.ca, 50-50 raffle. There's raffles going on. You can buy them online. You have to be in BC for that.
Well, that was the question I was going to ask, because nobody knew the answer to that the first game that I did. And that's the boat we're in here in Saskatchewan, just part of the lottery license when we do the 50-50s here, is that you have to be in Saskatchewan to purchase.
Right.
But, so
I
if
know
you're
I
not
kind of watched those Oilers raffles and kind of want in on that. And of course, when the Blue Jays were playing, that was a big one too, right? So
Yeah.
you find somebody in that part of the country and
Well,
get them to buy your tickets, right?
see, and now you've drawn up because Nova Scotia managed to get in on the Blue Jays. So I don't know how they changed the lottery license or what they did, but Nova Scotia can get in on the Blue Jays ones. It's all in the licensing. I don't fully understand it. I understand that it's a licensing issue, but we just keep telling people in Saskatchewan, if you're not in Saskatchewan, so I'll tell you the same thing here. If you're not in BC, it might be time to call up that auntie that you haven't seen in a while and tell her to buy you some 50-50 tickets.
That's right. Of course, the 50-50 supports curling. in
I haven't
BC.
seen the purse today, but I mean, I did a evening game on day one, and it was already getting substantial. And you don't expect that necessarily on day one because not everybody has found the broadcasts yet. Now we're getting into the heart of the competition. There'll be a lot more viewers and presumably some bigger purses. And like you said, you're also supporting curling.
I did a lot of 50-50 sales at the Briar that was held in Kelowna last year. I think I was on every shift. Curl BC was putting it on, and I was part of their entourage of people. It's a great event.
So Corryn looking at her options here. So that was the fifth stone of the end. She could make a play on guards now. She looked at trying to maybe get all three reds. The angle is there to do that. But the two in the one in the 8 foot and the one that is maybe just biting, if it's not, it's just out of the rings. They're not that far apart. It's pretty easy to make a double on those two, or relatively easy to make a double on those two. And that's what she's going to opt for. Not big weight here. They want to try to control the shooter on this as well. They kind of lost that at the end. Makes contact with the second stone, but not enough to get it out. And she left a center guard.
So Kayla's continuing to go around those two center guards. Could she get herself in a little trouble here, or is she feeling,
Oh, she could.
she's too up in the game? She's putting the pressure on Corryn.
Yeah, well, she could get herself in trouble, no doubt. There's a blue one buried around the corner now. It's second shot right now. But, I don't know what else she's got at this point in time. The way they finish, I think she could actually come by the red and end up dead buried on the blue. She's a long ways by the guard, though. The scary part of this is Brown could play the same type of shot, blue onto red, and if she sticks it behind cover, well, now that trouble you talked about is there. She's going to play the double peel this time, try to get all three of them moving. So red just slightly across the face of that blue that's just outside the rings, and try to have it come more or less straight back and kill the stone that was just played. She could probably go after the blue-red directly, like the blue rays onto the red stone that was just thrown. Like, that's a very similar shot to what Sarah just played. It's basically the exact same shot she just threw.
Which isn't a bad call, because you'd like to give your players the same shot twice.
Well, and I think this might have come from Sarah. She might have said, I can see enough of that. And, of course, she just played it, right? So she knows what this is going to do. Corryn knows what it's going to do. The brushers just saw it. There's a lot of good things that can come out of this. She could stick it behind cover. If she's slightly across the top, she could roll it over towards that other red.
So on that shot, would it have been an option to just play that maybe with a little lighter weight?
It would have been. Like, that, to me, looks like more weight than she threw with the last one.
Right.
And yet it's still over curled. So,
and then her rock would have stayed in play a little better.
Left the guard on the center line too. So Brittany, another chance to bring one around. And now that blue stone will be a rock's width higher. So there'll be a little bit more separation between the rocks if you make this come around. This has got better line coming in as well.
Sean, have you heard anything that we're playing on an end sheet? Sometimes that end sheet is a little bit different, especially on the right-hand side where you've
Yeah.
got the wall there. Have you heard anything from the curlers on that?
I haven't. No.
Okay. Do you think they're keeping that, watching it a bit, especially in the later ends?
No doubt they are. No doubt they are. It's a little tougher now because that rock got well underneath the bluestone, so she's got to get really close to the nose, which means a little tighter by that red guard.
You're sweeping it hard. Be a little tight there.
That's a little too tight by the red guard.
Yeah. Kayla again will be putting up that guard.
Yeah, they'll look to get it over just a couple inches more. You want to take away a little bit of that blue so that the run back's not maybe possible. But I think if she ever deadlined it up, there's probably room to get at that red stone with
the way it curls.
Yeah, certainly with enough weight to move it. Maybe not enough to kill it, but if you could pop it out from behind the guard, you know, there's still options to maybe score a big end. Probably try to split center here is probably good.
Halfway?
Yeah.
You don't want it too tight, right?
Yeah, and then Corryn will probably try that double peel again. She might not get the line. Yeah, there she does. Boy, look at that last spin at the end. You see that so commonly with these rocks. They're so aggressive with that spin. Well, you'll love it. We haven't seen it yet, but when you get a rock that finishes like that, that's one of those ones where you see the forefoot get congested and all you can do with your last one is draw to the edge of the button, and that last little spin makes for some spectacular looking draws. Got her the line she needed on the guard there. So now they have to play the run red over the top of the blue and try to bring it straight back.
There we go. So now Corryn's sitting in a pretty good position.
Yeah,
She's
I
could not
have drawn that up any better with the telestrator if I had one. You do have to get a bit of a roll here. Nose hit. I mean, it's a thin double, but she probably tries it. If you only roll about a foot and a half, it actually makes the double easier. There's more distance between them, but the angle will be better. And you don't want to roll dead in behind the corner because then she'll try to corner freeze it. So it's not easy to put this stone in a perfect position. You actually could make a case where you might be better off to come just across the face and roll a couple of inches the other way and make the angle really thin for the double.
That's what I would think they're playing.
Well, they initially indicated a broom side, yeah. She did not, I don't think, get all the way out to it, but good rotation. This should hold. Oh, that's really good.
Got the roll there. Yeah, that's a pretty good shot, Kayla. Corryn Brown's first. She get a little hit and roll there. Is that the correct call, though? Because Kayla might just, if it's too good, she might just come and draw up to it and take it all away.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that she'll have to chase it. But this is your choices. It's either this, or you could try to corner. Oh, you're thinking roll the other way? I was thinking corner freeze it. I mean, you're going to get forced anyway. So you play the corner freeze. There's still a chance you get two out of this.
Oh, yeah. I'm
could
thinking
roll.
that
You're thinking roll.
Yeah, that red rock is second shot.
Yeah, the red rock on the
other
other side.
Corryn's looking at two, but she's not right now.
Oh, no, she is. She's looking at two.
No, I mean, she's not looking at getting two.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she's facing two MacMillan stones right now. Yeah. Corryn has had her fair share of problems, or maybe even more than her fair share of problems with hits. And it's been
Rolling
the
out.
7 stone, but it's not always a question of overcurl. That one was an overcurl. She had one that undercurled earlier in the game. She's given away a couple of steal opportunities, made a great shot in the third to actually pick up the single after missing her first shot.
And now Kayla has the opportunity to force Brown into taking one.
Just do not leave the double here. That's all you need to worry about. I expect there'll be a bit of a conversation when she gets down to the other end, because you don't get to see a lot of these draws to the corner. So there'll be a bit of a conversation about the weight. Everybody needs to be on the same page on these two. It's not just up to the thrower on a shot like this. You got to know when you need to sweep this. It should be through what we call the good stuff earlier, but as this comes into the house, she might get into that wide path where it's a little bit heavier, and they do have to make sure they're at least second shot here.
There's your discussion.
Yeah.
Just being totally sure on this because they don't want to give a chance.
There's a limit to how sure they can be, though, because you think back to how this game has gone. I don't think we've seen too many draws going this wide. It's going to be a bit of a guess. So they won't just be talking about this game, but, previous games. What were we finding? What's it doing at the edge? It also matters where this curls, because she's going to be in the good stuff for most of the way down. Well, they jumped this right away.
They did.
It's not heavy.
I think she's come up short here.
Yeah. She talked
So that
herself
gives
into...
Corryn an opportunity to hit this rock and get her 2 and tie the game.
Get her 2 for sure. I think we might see a measurement on that one blue stone.
On the right-hand side there.
Yeah, you can see that little bit of white from the overhead, but
Right.
the overhead, we're looking from the pinhole out. It's not exactly bang on. And as you look at it from this view, that stone looks like it's very close to being in the rings. It's probably worth putting a stick on, especially as you're going into the 5th end break anyway.
She's sweeping that pretty hard.
Yeah. Well, again with the overcurl.
Okay, I looked at that as the overhead there. It didn't look like it was in.
No, and they've kicked it away.
So that's 1 for Corryn Brown playing the 5th end. So it's 3-2 for MacMillan. And we have a 5-minute break now.
Well, we think it's 3-2, but it was Brittany Tran that kicked it away. That might have been in. We'll let you know when we get back.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Whoa. Oh, boy.
Driftwood Brewery, Esquimalt, crafting world-class beer since 2008. This is where beer is made. With care, intention, and respect for the process, every batch reflects the place we're from and the standards we hold ourselves to. And this is where it's enjoyed. Our tasting room, offering a rotating lineup of West Coast favorites and seasonal releases, right here in Esquimalt. Paired with Thai-inspired food from Dumpling Drop, we're open 7 days a week. Driftwood Brewery, great beer, confidently made. Cheers.
Still in the fifth end break here on our feature game, but we'll quickly recap the scores. All 8 women's teams in action here this morning. Taylor Reese-Hansen and Kelsey Powell. Reese-Hansen, the other undefeated team in the competition right now. They're tied 3-all as they play in the 6th. Reese-Hansen with last rock there. Sarah Wark with a 4-3 lead over Holly Haffley. Mara Harris and Kayla Wilson. It's Harris with a 7-1 lead as they play in the 5th there. And of course, our feature matchup all tied 3 apiece at the break. And just the one game going on the men's side. It's the A final. So the first playoff team will be determined there. Jason Montgomery with a 4-3 lead after 5 ends of play there. It's Cameron DeJong with last rock as they play in the 6th. We'll have 6th end action for you right after this.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Ah, now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
When I was younger, I thought purpose had to be big, like changing the world. But then there's the little things, like fueling someone's car before an early shift, or helping someone find the perfect bottle to toast a special occasion, making sure the shelves are full so a family can cook dinner, so those kids can have their favorite treats. Like giving back, like making everyone's day just a bit better. Maybe that's exactly our purpose.
Welcome back to the BC Men's and Ladies Provincial Curling Championships. We are covering the ladies' round robin game between Kayla MacMillan from Victoria Curling Club versus Corryn Brown from Kamloops Curling Club. The score right now is tied. That was a score of 2 in the 5th end. There was a biter on the side. We couldn't tell whether it was in or not. So it's a tie game. 3-3 playing the 6th end. 5 ends to go.
Sorry about that. The overhead view does give you a bit of a distorted angle. It looked like there was a white line out there. They removed it pretty quickly, but I happened to notice it was Brittany Tran that kicked it off, and that usually means she's conceded it was a second point. So even though we could see the white, that was in far enough. She didn't even feel like there was any point calling for a measure.
So that was actually, Corryn had a shot for 3 in that end.
Yeah.
1 up.
Yeah, and she's had a few rollouts already, and they're going to start to haunt her pretty soon.
So, Sean, we were talking earlier off air about rocks and how these teams look at the rocks and test the rocks. And if you have, I know when I was doing the senior curling championships, there was one rock on the sheet we were doing. We were always on the same sheet. there was one shot that was what they called a cutter.
Yeah.
And there was only, I think, 2 skips in the whole championship that actually chose that rock to be one of their rocks
Well,
as an advantage.
yeah. Well, we didn't used to do that. Again, where you and I are from a past generation. You had one rock that didn't match. You gave it to the lead. These teams don't do that anymore. And again, when we're talking about differences between the two of them, I mean, you might have a rock that a cutter, for instance, on ice that only curls 2 or 3 feet, you might only notice an inch or 2 difference. But when the ice curls as much as this does, and there's as much finish, and they can do as much with the brushes, like you can use that rock as a weapon. And the better teams now, that's become a very important skill to identify. If you got one rock that curls a little bit more, and then you have to decide when you're going to throw it. They won't usually change the player, but you see it, you hear it all the time at the Briar, the Scotties, the top Bonspiels, where the skip will call down, which stone have you got? And that's because they have 2 stones that aren't doing the same thing, and they will use, whether it be the cutter or the straight one, they'll use it in certain situations, and it's an important skill. Now, we were talking about it, wondering if that might be the issue with Corryn Brown, and I don't think it is in this case, because she has had, she's had a couple of them over curl. She also had one under curl. So I think it's just she's struggling a little bit with her takeouts right now. Yeah.
And would they talk about that in the 5th end break? Would she be talking to Jim about maybe what's happening with my rock there? Am I doing something different? Would she talk to her team?
That's an interesting question. On the face of it, the answer should be yes, but psychologically, in the middle of a game, there are some players where you just can't do that.
Right.
I remember hearing a story, and heard it at a high performance camp from one of the coaches at one point in time. And I like telling this story here because it was Bert Gretzinger that they were talking about.
Oh.
And Dave Meloff, who was originally from Saskatchewan, used to play with Mark Dacey, was playing with Bert at the time, and they had a sub playing. And so it comes down to one of those things that you just don't tell a player. And Bert came down to throw a draw, and he says, "What's the weight?" And the sub says, "Well, it's 24 seconds." And Dave just bowed his head. And Dave throws the draw, or Bert throws the draw, and sure enough, he comes up short. And Dave goes over to the sub and says, "You never tell Bert it's anything faster than 23. Never." Oh. And it's just a psychological thing. But I hate to pick on Bert that way, but it's one of those things. There are some players in the middle of a game, just psychologically, you can't. And the coaches,
I agree with that, because I've come down to the hack, and our teams, or the teams I've played on, we've always discussed way ahead of game time, like, what is it that you like when you get into the hack? What do you need? Yeah. What do you want? And if I have a time in my head, I've been thinking about it all the way down the ice, and I'm timing hog to hog on every shot pretty much anyways. So I have a pretty good idea what the time is. And if I get into the hack and somebody tells me it's something different, that really messes you up, because now you go, "Oh, is it?" No, like it really messes you.
Nice shot. She manages to move all 3 of the rocks in the rings.
I feel for Bert on that shot.
Well, I just know that some psychological, like Corryn knows she's struggling now, and maybe she's fine talking about it mid-game, but some players would not be. Like, it's just, I need to figure this out. I don't need to be told about it type thing,
Right.
Unless
you ask for it, right?
Yeah, I don't know the team, so that they will know. Jim will know whether he's got a team that we could talk about it or not. And I don't know whether it's anything necessarily technical, or maybe she's just not matching the weight to what they called. Like, we don't have the mics on them here, so we can't hear what's gone wrong with those shots.
She knows.
She knows.
Okay, Corryn's set up pretty nice this end. She's got one on the top 4. I call that a power rock.
Yep. Well, and the fact that there's 2 in there, it's still, the force is always alive. Now, Brittany's going to try to move all three of them here. See if she can get herself on the replay run again. Nothing yet out of the brushers. Oh, that's almost bad luck. Like
Yeah, that's bad luck.
You left it in behind cover. In fact, if anything, it's ever so slightly better.
Just want to give a shout out again to our presenting sponsors here. Best Western, Bel Air Direct, Driftwood Brewery, Digital Direct, which is local based, and AMJ Moving. Can't have these events without our sponsors. So thank you to our sponsors.
There's got to be a moving pun available for this game too, with both teams coming into undefeated. Somebody's trying to move into first place with this game.
That's right. For those just joining us now, this game, both teams are undefeated, and Taylor Reese Hansen is also undefeated, and they haven't played each other.
No, this is the first of the head-to-head games between these three that are sitting undefeated.
Right.
Again, they came in as the pre-tournament favorites, certainly these three teams, and the way it's going so far through 3 and 4 games for everybody, it's looking like they're going to be the 3 playoff teams as well. So whoever can end up in first place, it's a strong position. You've got the bye to the final as well as last rock in that final.
Right. Choice of rocks.
And, because it's going to come down to the head-to-head between the three of them, there's that little bit of psychological advantage in the fact that you've already beaten the other teams.
Watching this, didn't quite get the back one out, but she did get them all moved out of the 4-foot and 8-foot area, which is a great shot again.
The 2 off the top of the 4-foot's really important, because right now, as it was sitting, it was looking like a potential steal. There was going to be a hard shot to even score. There's going to be room to score now, depending what gets done with these next couple of stones. Good opportunity here for Corryn Brown to throw a draw. She's had a couple of issues with her hits. This is the kind of shot it can restore some confidence. Looks like it's a long ways out there, but we know these finish hard. There it goes.
Maybe just a little short on that.
Yeah.
Block that path that way to the button anyways.
Yeah.
But like you mentioned earlier, you can still come around that rock as well.
You can. It again probably looks more natural to come around this side just because you don't have to get by as tight of a guard, but now she's got to go look where the broom is. She's out into that wide stuff where the speed could be different. It's on the wall side, as you mentioned earlier too, which we have seen both teams, whether it's deliberate or it's just the way the ends have evolved, they haven't played this side of the sheet as much.
Okay, so after the 5th end, the ice maker does come out there and do a light mop on the ice. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that increases the speed down the ice for some unknown reason. I don't think it'll happen here. And then that could be why Corryn was just a little bit late on that last shot. Thinking that.
Overthinking, yeah. It happens all the time. This is a big shot. You're in a little bit of trouble here. You make a good one, though, and you can flip it around on one shot from, well, we're in trouble getting forced to we've got a chance for 2. It's going to be deep.
Yeah, it's tracking a little bit.
It is shot rock, and it did get that little spin at the end, so it's over buried. She can't really chase it to push it out, but she could get there with a freeze.
Right. That's not the ideal spot that she wanted that rock for sure. She wanted it in front.
No, that actually came down quite a bit. If you're going to be deep on that, there's an argument to be made. Take that right to the back of the 8-foot.
That's right.
If you make a good freeze here, I think you'll have to try to draw to the side of the button on the other side to score.
Corryn Brown in her last shot in the 6th end. She's trying to freeze down, follow the same path that Kayla MacMillan just threw.
I think she's got a little bit less rotation than Kayla, so she should get a little bit more finish. She might be able to get to the inside corner.
Looks like the weight's pretty good there. Let's bring it up. Is it far enough?
We need the overhead. It doesn't give her a choice. She's going to have to play the wide draw on the other side, but it might be for 2. You can see the line, though. Like, there's just a slight difference in the rotation between Corryn's and Kayla's. If she got right down to that, she would have been on the inside corner of it. And then look at where the line she's ended up. She'd have a quarter of her rock in the button. Kayla can't even see the button from where she's throwing. Like, it would have been very tough to catch enough of the rings to even score here. She had outstanding line, just needed a couple of feet more weight. She's got to go really wide on this, needs full 4. It's going to look like it's a long ways out there for a while, but it will hook hard at the end.
Last shot in the 6th end for Kayla MacMillan.
Brushers look like they're just waiting for a line call.
2 or for 1. It's looking good. Maybe
for 2 if she gets there.
2. Oh, it's close. It looks like blue, maybe. That's my guess.
Yeah, I don't think she got there.
So it might be just 1 red. They're going to measure? They're going to measure it.
It's close. I don't think she got there, but then there's always that, we see this all the time. When you've got a red rock on a red ring and a blue rock on a red ring, you get a bit of an optical illusion.
I agree. The blue rock looks bigger, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and it would be the opposite if we were in the 12-foot, just because the rocks match. I've also seen it with yellow and red rocks in some of the bonspiels that we've done over the year, that some of them have the colored rings according to the logo sponsors. So you end up with some yellow rocks and yellow rings, and it distorts your perception a little bit.
So they'll measure this for the 2nd point. Kayla's already got 1. Can't quite see where the dial is on there, but
can just barely see it. So it got a little bit more than a quarter of the way around.
The umpire will bring the rock that counts towards
looked like
the middle.
Blue to me.
Yeah, it was blue. So just 1 red in the 6th end. Kayla MacMillan will go up 4-3. We're heading into the 7th end, and we'll be right back.
Hey, Mark, you ready for this game tonight?
Yeah, I'm excited, man. Cupsy, what are you doing over there?
Don't worry, boys. Was just on AztecSafety.com, took a fire extinguisher safety course. Paul, I'm putting out the fires from now on. Woo!
Driftwood Brewery, Esquimalt, crafting world-class beer since 2008. This is where beer is made, with care, intention, and respect for the process. Every batch reflects the place we're from and the standards we hold ourselves to. And this is where it's enjoyed. Our tasting room, offering a rotating lineup of West Coast favorites and seasonal releases, right here in Esquimalt. Paired with Thai-inspired food from Dumpling Drop, we're open 7 days a week. Driftwood Brewery, great beer, confidently made. Cheers.
And that's the team she has left to play. MacMillan worked every stats. She's played before bottom dwellers. And I know that two of the, I didn't see all of them, but two of the scores were very upset. So you haven't really been challenged yet. We have that kind of working against us here in Saskatchewan right now.
Welcome back and Happy New Year. We are here at Esquimalt, Archie Browning Sports Center in Esquimalt, BC, hosting the BC Men's and Ladies Provincial Curling Championships, sponsored or presented by Best Western. Our game we are featuring is Kayla MacMillan from the Victoria Curling Club playing Corryn Brown from the Kamloops Curling Club. I'm Penny Shantz, and I'm joined by Sean Joyce from Saskatoon.
And I just want to assure everybody, it is 4-3 for MacMillan after the sixth end. There we go. It was never 1-0 after the third, so I'm not sure where that scoreboard was coming from, but got to poke a little bit of fun at the, especially when it's another Saskatchewan guy doing the production, Roy McCusker. Right. When I catch him.
Sean does all the games in Saskatchewan for the provincials. I've watched him over the years, and you do it with Kim, right? A lot?
Kim Hudson, and then for the last couple of years, we've had Darren Dupont has been working the play-by-play for us. He's not available this year. So Nolan, I apologize, Nolan, I forgot your last name. He's going to be joining us, and Susan Lang is part of the broadcast as well.
Susan Lang. I know Susan quite well, too. I guess you're not talking about Nolan Thiessen.
No, it's a radio broadcaster. We actually started bringing in a professional guy to do the play-by-play a couple of years ago. It was getting to the point where if we wanted to get more professional, we needed that. I've done plenty of play-by-play, but I'm certainly not as polished as the guys who do it for a living. Took me a long time to get
seventh end here.
Sorry, Penny. Took me a long time to get a telestrator in Saskatchewan too, but we have one now. So if I don't get to play with it this week, I'm going to get to play with it next week.
They do have a telestrator, but it's actually at the Archie Browning Center, I believe.
I know.
And we're not there. We're remote. I'm doing this from Coldstream, BC, and Sean's doing it from Saskatchewan. So we're not privy to that.
They assure me they're working on it, although I'm not entirely sure they're not just poking fun at me in the background. It's one of those things. A telestrator would be nice to have to show all the angles, and then they were talking about it coming in. And the first game that I did this week, the very first end, there had to be 10 rocks in play, and there were angles all over the place. It would have been the absolutely perfect time to pull it out because they were talking about multiple shot options, and no such luck. But don't be surprised if we get into those types of situations here in this game as it goes in too. As you start to get into the last few ends of a game that's this tight, both teams are going to be trying to set up opportunities. We've already got some rocks in play here in the seventh and some angles.
We certainly are. I just want to mention that the semifinals and the finals are going to be televised on Czech TV on January 3rd and 4th. There's the men's and women's here, but there's also the U20. The U20 is being played in the curling club next door for the BC Provincial Championship. You can catch all the scores online as well at curlbc.ca.
They're on Curling Zone as well, which is the host site for Curling Stadium. There are a lot of resources if you want to keep tabs on your favorite teams these days that, weren't there 30 years ago. We don't have mics, but that hand signal is pretty universal. This is down weight from what they had in mind.
Just ticks the guard.
Yeah, and you saw them switch sweepers at the end. I think that was a plan B when they realized they weren't getting by. They were hoping to tick that a little bit thicker and at least get it off the center line.
Kayla does not have the hammer here.
Yeah.
So she would be trying to force Corryn into taking one, I would think.
Yeah, ideally, in the seventh end, you don't really want to see a blank here. You'd love to get the force and then get the hammer back in the even end. She's not really thinking steal yet, but I mean, she's had 3 opportunities earlier in the game where she wasn't thinking steal, and it just kind of presented itself late. She got one of them, got a force out of another. Needs to get to the inside here, and it's not going to.
Maybe just a titch too much weight than what she really wanted.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were playing to tap it. I don't think they needed to. I think it was more important to get the right line.
I agree.
Actually fortunate that it bounced off like that, because what does Corryn do now? Like, you make a play on the stone she just threw. There's a chance you're putting it onto the blue, yeah. They need to create a way to get that middle red out. So she's trying to hit the outside of this red one, catch the second red one, to move the third one. And that's, you can't get that second one out now, but you need to create a way to get it out later.
So she'll try and open it up a little bit.
Yeah, where does everything else end up off this? Loses her own, loses 2 reds.
And her shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Kayla can't really just leave that blue rock sitting there because it is in a good position. She can use it.
Yeah,
Corryn can use it.
Can't roll away off of it because she'd put it onto her own. If she rolls under, she's going to leave, a chance to get them all going. Corryn could get back to a blank here pretty quick. And we just talked about how Allison would love to force here. Well, Corryn might really like a blank here. You're 1 down playing 8 with last rock and the even ends. That's not a bad position. This is not a gimme either, and it's tight to the guard already. Yeah, they're playing it. Plan B to run it back now.
Oh, that really went. Oh, that worked out for them. Maybe. Better than what they anticipated, I think.
Yeah, I have to think that's less weight than they were trying to throw. Like, I would imagine they wanted to kill the blue stone. Well, she didn't have enough weight for that. Wants to move all 3 reds here for sure. Hard to kill them all. That middle one's going to be a tough one to remove. Could.
Oh, just missed it. Okay, so
yeah.
Now MacMillan.
You're thinking the same thing as I am.
Do you hit the blue one or do you guard it?
Yeah. I think you have to guard yet.
So we're on, this must be Third's last shot.
Yeah. You guard here, they're going to try the run again.
But it's MacMillan's rock going down into it now.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. So I would say if it was your last shot, you'd hit the blue one and make sure you've got no worse than a force. And there's still a possible steal there, even without a guard, because the double on those top two is not an automatic. Ooh, this is overcurled.
Overcurled a bit. There's so much finish right at the end on these rocks.
Yeah. Tough to make the double here. You almost want to, just kind of nose hit it and stay directly in front of the other red. In fact, you might have to hit it just a sliver on the broom side to make sure you stay in front of the red. You'd be sitting second and third.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Oh, they're really sweeping this.
Yeah, I'm not sure she's getting by.
Seems around the center, it's just moving a little bit more than what both teams are anticipating. Okay, she has an opportunity to guard that again.
Yeah.
Kayla's got a little bit more rotation here, so her finish is right at the end. Thinking she's got a little more ice too, I think.
Yeah. They will take that little spin at the end. We've seen it a number of times in this game, but hers will hold out there longer, and then they'll use that little spin at the end to get it into place. Figured she'd likely guard on this one. It'll be interesting if it's the same shot presented to her with her last one. Does she guard again? Or do you hit that back one? Because you've already got the force in place. It's not easy to guard an existing rock with as much curl as we have here.
And she's sweeping it to hold it out there.
Yeah, it looks like lots of line, but you know this is going to spin at the end. Needs to stop.
Whoa. Okay. Pretty good shot.
Yeah, stop just in time. I mean, the nose hit probably gets them all. But that's never as easy as it sounds either. Like you're just a sliver off the nose. One way you jam it, the other way you don't make contact at all.
Corryn's got a big shot here. If you had your telestrator, you could show exactly how that rock was going to come and hit those other two, and right?
You're on Team Tease Sean. I see it. Yeah, there's not a lot of room for error here. Actually, she's got to be right on the beak, a sliver off one way or the other, and this is not going to work out as well as she'd like.
Okay, they held it good there.
Looks real close. Yeah,
oh,
it did. Undercurled that little bit.
Mm-hmm. So now Kayla has an opportunity here. She's looking at putting one right on top of it. And really put some pressure on Corryn Brown to score one.
Yeah, Corryn's probably going to play the hit and roll.
Well,
do you think she plays the in-turn draw? It's tough. She can't. I mean, it's there. I'd be tempted. If you're not going to tap that rock, I'd be tempted to just be full 12 foot between the two of them so she can't play the hit and roll. Like by coming right to the face of your own stone, you're not changing her shot. Like she's got two shots right now. She's got the hit and roll on the out-turn side and that in-turn draw, which to me looks really tough. You'd actually have to be close to the corner guard to hold the line, I think. If you're coming to the middle, I like tapping this up a couple of inches. Take away a little bit more button.
last shot, the 7th end for Kayla MacMillan. Looking to lie, I think 4.
Yeah.
And
3
really
of them in the
put
4 foot.
Pressure on Corryn, yeah.
Line's looking nice. This will hook at the end. might have done a little bit more to take away a little bit of that draw. She's still got the hit and roll.
So what kind of weight do you play on this? Do you play like a full hit, or do you play a, let's be careful?
Yeah, once upon a time, this would have been thrower's choice. You throw whatever you're confident in. But these days with, again, going back to the equipment and the brushing and what they've learned to do with it, the quieter you can throw these rocks, the more you can do with the brushers. So you'd probably throw this as maybe a bumper.
Nice control.
Yeah, something that the brushers can control.
We used to call that house weight, house hit. I'm just keeping it now. That must be pretty close. Corryn makes a great shot. 4-1. And we have a tie game after 7 ends. 4-4. Kayla MacMillan will have the hammer going into the 8th end.
Driftwood Brewery, Esquimalt, crafting world-class beer since 2008.
Yeah, there's been a
This is
couple
where
of-
beer is made with care, intention,
not
and respect
sharp.
for the process.
Yeah, well, I
Every batch
haven't seen
reflects
the one
place
where I
we're
say
from
this is the
and the
team that's
standards
going
we
to
hold
win.
ourselves
There's
Yeah.
two of the undefeated.
This is
and
where
if
it's
you look at
enjoyed.
Scoreboard,
Our
recent
tasting
Hanson's
room,
having trouble with
offering a
Phil's Bell.
rotating lineup of West
Like,
Coast
they're tied,
favorites and
and she's
seasonal
got the
releases,
hammer, but-
right here in Esquimalt.
Like at this point
Paired
in
with
time, you'd like to
Thai-inspired
see
food
somebody
from Dumpling
taking
Drop. We're
control.
open 7 days a
And-
week. Driftwood Brewery,
and this is
great
more of
beer,
a game
confidently
of
made.
key misses than
Cheers.
Welcome back to the BC Men's and Ladies Provincial Curling Championships, presented by Best Western. I'm Penny Shantz. I'm joined by Sean Joyce, and we are in the 8th end of a tight game. It's 4-4. Kayla MacMillan from the Victoria Curling Club versus Corryn Brown from the Kamloops Curling Club. Two of the top teams in the field, and they're playing for their first win, or first loss, I should say.
Yeah, true. Well, playing to try to hand their opposition their first loss. Yeah, this is a key matchup. I mean, this has got. If you were looking at the event before it started, you would have still looked at this one and say, well, this one could have playoff implications, but it's played out that way. Like, you've got 3 teams coming into this draw that are undefeated, and it would have been the top 3 seeds coming in, and they're playing each other, as you said, one this morning, one tonight, and one tomorrow morning. So in the next 4 draws, there's going to be a lot of jockeying for position. This is the first of the big 3 games between the 3 teams that are undefeated. And right now, we were talking about a bit during the break, what we haven't seen yet is we haven't seen either one of these teams just grab this game. And that's what I'm looking for in the last 3. You'd like to see somebody just firmly grasp this game. Psychologically, that could be huge going to the playoffs too.
Right. And you'd mentioned you looked at the scoreboard across, and Taylor Reese Hansen right now is playing Kelsey Powell. That's from my local club, and they're in a tight game there.
Yep.
You mentioned they were tied playing the 8th end.
Tied playing the 8th. Reese Hansen has last rock, but you expect that. There was one blowout this draw. Mara Harris 13-1 win over Kayla Wilson, but all of the other games tied into the 8th end.
And you can check out all the scores online at Curl BC. They have all the live scores if you want to check yourself. And I believe there's some other games out here too that you can watch on YouTube, Curl BC, if you look on it.
You expect these games to get tight as you get farther on in the competition, because these are all good teams. And so you just expect the play to get tighter as you go along, and all the teams know the ice. They've got a good read on it now. That one blowout score, it was just a case of a big end early, and then, as the opposition, I give them credit. You're playing with rocks in play, trying to get back in the game, and sometimes it doesn't work.
That's right. Yeah, sometimes the scoreboard isn't indicative of really what was going on out there, right? It was just one bad end.
That one bad end, and then you got to ignore a lot of rocks and try to get back into the game. And like I said, I give credit because I've seen the other side of that, where you give up that big end and then, let's just try to stay close. Well, losing a close game still counts the same as losing a lopsided game. Like, try to get yourself back in it.
Right. Sean, do you have an update on the score between on the A qualifier on the men's side? De Jong and Montgomery?
At the break, it was Montgomery up 4-3. De Jong had last rock. He managed to get his deuce in 6, and they blanked 7. So De Jong with a 5-4 lead. Montgomery with last rock in the 8th there.
So that's a close game too. The men's and ladies do play different formats. The ladies play an 8-team round robin with 3 teams going into the playoffs. The men play a triple knockout with 4 qualifiers, 1 out of A, 1 out of B, and 2 out of C. And 4 of them play off for the finals. The finals are on Czech TV, January 3rd and 4th.
Mm-hmm. It's another
out there.
Slight missed opportunity early in the end, but MacMillan had a chance to sit 3 and so spread out that would have been a problem for Brown to try to get back to a force situation. She's hitting this rock in the back of the 8. I'm not sure I'm in favor of this either.
I guess her thought process is probably she doesn't have the hammer here.
Yeah, but she's talking about hitting and rolling behind the guard. Well, if you make that, they're going to freeze to it because it's so far back. See, that's almost better, because if she hits that, then you have a chance to get the double. And then you can
And she's grouping the rocks together.
Yeah, that's what I mean. She's grouped the rocks by rolling that way.
I like that call too.
It's an interesting situation. Corryn Brown, this has been my view on it in a lot of these situations. You're playing the 8th end here in a tie game. Corryn Brown actually might like a blank here. She's the team without last rock, but if you blank here and force in 9, you've got last rock coming home. Or if you steal in 9, you've got momentum coming home. What you don't want to do is give up 2 here, because you don't have a lot of time to get that back now. I like the double here.
Well, she's in a pretty good position right now with the double.
Yep.
Sit there.
Now you've got to get the other team to cooperate, because here's the thing. After this shot is made, even if she makes the double, so we're down to thirds last stone, 3 rocks, 2 with a center guard. Traditionally, if you're going to play around a center guard with last rock, that's when you want to do it. So if Kayla MacMillan wants to try to score her 2, she could come around right now. Looks like she's content to play for the blank here.
If she's forced to one, do you like that? She takes one. She's, as long as she doesn't give up a steal. She does not want Corryn Brown to steal.
Tough to get forced here unless you roll out. Well, and there it is. I didn't like that hit. I would have come around.
Corryn Brown's first rock in the 8th end of a 10-end game. They play 10 ends.
At least.
At least. I looked at their times last end. They were both around 11 minutes, I think. So
yeah, they've been playing at a pretty good pace. Time shouldn't be an issue. Mind you, it's, again, as we stay tight here, it's hard to say how many rocks we're going to see in play in 9 and 10.
Corryn's trying to come around the center guard. Put some pressure on Kayla MacMillan. Looks like it might be a little deep.
Yeah, they were caught there. Do you sweep for curl or do you try to let it stop in front of the tee line? It's just a little too deep.
Kayla's going to chase it and just try and sit right on top of it. Shot rock.
Yeah, you make the corner freeze here, and you should have some kind of shot for two. But you're not playing with a lot of real estate here. You can't be short. You won't be shot rock. And you can't bounce off. You bounce off, you might leave Corryn Brown a chance to say, maybe make a nose hit, sit two, and you wouldn't be able to nose hit it back and be shot rock.
Let's not talk about that.
Let's talk
about the good shot.
But what I mean is, like, these aren't just area plays. Like, you're playing this to a spot. It's got to be right on the corner.
It's got to be perfect, yeah.
Yeah, these aren't, just throw it in there and get shot somewhere. No, you need to put this in a really good spot. And it's not all on the thrower. Like, this is a lot of pressure on the brushers too. They're trying to sweep this to a spot, not an area.
Looks like
she needs that spin that she's been getting at the end. Yeah. Not quite going to get it done. She's left room for Corryn to get to the nose of that.
So would Corryn want to just tap that back just a bit so she's sitting two? Or would
You
that
could.
set up a double, like, or shrink
You
her
could.
house?
Well, it is going to leave a double. I mean, there's going to be a double on the Blues, but I'm not sure you're ever leaving a double on the Blues where you could stay. Like, if she gets to the nose or just slightly the broom side of the nose tapping that back, the double is going to be a thin slash double, and I think you lose the shooter.
Okay, so last rock in the 8th end for Corryn Brown. She does not have the hammer.
Looks like she's playing the weight to try to remove it, which is fine, but then it probably changes where you want to hit this.
It's got to curl a little bit.
Yeah, just ever so slightly across the face and tuck a corner. Yeah, I didn't do that.
That's okay.
It gives her the shot for the blank, though. Like, if she tucks a corner, she doesn't have a shot for the blank. This still has to be made. It's not a gimme. Could you ever get unlucky, Penny? That red that's out of the rings. If you went into the side of that, would you still be in the rings? It might be, right? It's close.
It might even squirt back in.
Yeah, for sure. To make this, she's looking at hitting about half a rock, which is going to put her in the neighborhood of that red one. She can't score without hitting the second rock, so she's got to play the double. Nose hit, she wouldn't be far enough into the 4 foot to score, so she has to play the double.
Last shot, the 8th end. Kayla MacMillan looking to double out 2 blue, and she did not. So it will be a steal by Corryn Brown in the 8th end, going up 5-4. And we'll be back with the 9th end play.
When I was younger, I thought purpose had to be big, like changing the world. But then there's the little things, like fueling someone's car before an early shift, or helping someone find the perfect bottle to toast a special occasion, making sure the shelves are full so a family can cook dinner, so those kids can have their favorite treats, like giving back, like making everyone's day just a bit better. Maybe that's exactly our purpose.
Developed over a decade in collaboration with the finest ice makers this side of the Atlantic, the Pebblehead PB5 is nothing short of a triumph of sophistication and craftsmanship. Weighing less than half its lumbering copper predecessors, yet boasting tenfold their durability, the PB5 delivers perfect, consistent ice, time after time. The PB5 by pebbleheads.com, the apex of ice-making ingenuity for the roaring game of curling.
Welcome back to the BC Men's and Women's Provincial Curling Championships presented by Best Western. We have a great game going here on New Year's Day, I guess it is. Team MacMillan from the Victoria Curling Club is playing Team Brown from the Kamloops Curling Club, two of the top teams in Canada. And it's 5-4 for Brown, stealing the last end. So how are they going to play this strategy now? There's always this strategy call. I'm one up without, I'm one up with.
Yeah, and of course they talk about that going into the 10th, but it's just as interesting, I find, going into the 9th, because you got a situation here where if you're Brown, you've got a 1-point lead here. You would like to see a single point go on the board this end either way. You don't care. If you steal one, you're up 2. If you force one, you're tied up with coming home. That's a great position to be in either way. For MacMillan, the last thing you want is a single point. You either have to get 2 here or you need the blank. The blank's not a bad situation. As much as the stats still say you're better off to be 1 up coming home. With ice like what we've got here, and I think the ice matters, and it doesn't get factored into those stats enough. This is ice where you can generate 2. As much as we've only got 2 deuces on the board, there have been plenty of opportunities to generate deuces. The issue has been more to do with critically timed missed shots. Even last end, she had the deuce set up early and a rollout, 2 rollouts, and then now it's back to a force. You don't mind going... I don't think you don't mind going 1 down with coming home, but she can't see a single point, and you have to make a decision. Are we playing for 2 here, or are we playing for the blank? Because if you don't make a firm decision, that's usually when you get caught in the middle and somebody scores 1, and that's advantage Brown. It's a drastically different end playing for 2 versus playing for the blank. She can't really make a decision until after this stone. You got to see where the angles are after the 5th stone. That's the fun part. It's probably nerve-wracking as a player, but that's the fun part of watching the game now with the 5-rock free guard zone, is that first 5 stones kind of sets up how the rest of the end is going to play. And you can see her already thinking the wheels are turning. Okay, how are we going to play this now? And she's trying to move things around and leave her red stone at the back. So she's thinking of trying to set up a way to score 2. with the angles the way they are.
Sean, I've been asked how many timeouts these teams are allowed. They are allowed 1 timeout each.
That's right. Yeah.
And but they also are able to talk to their coaches behind the scenes, and you'll see that quite a bit out there if you look closely. Between shots, you'll see the skip back there talking to the coach. We do have some rocks in play, so somebody is going to be scoring this end.
Oh, it's too early to say that for sure.
You think so?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
But, it's if we're going to get to a blank, it's going to have to be MacMillan that goes that direction, I think. Again, Corryn Brown is going to try to force a single here. She's not going to be the first one to throw hits. You got to be careful with this one. She's trying to come to the pocket. The angle at the front's not bad for her right now because when they played the tap, the blue spills in such a way that you can't kill both of them right now. You don't want to get to the inside of that red and change that angle. Freeze, it's okay, but if you move it and change the angle where she could hit the red and kill both blues, that would be kind of switch the advantage to MacMillan again. Got to get to the inside. That's pretty good.
Pretty good shot.
But here's where the hits start. Can you get you can get to the nose of that. The 2 blues will go. And probably 4 reds sticking around in the rings. You'd like to roll a little bit. You don't want to leave the reds overlapped. Big weight. She's looking to roll a lot. Big weight with a set. She might be really thin on the first one.
Oh, and she sprinkled the rocks out a little bit there.
Yeah, that's not ideal.
Okay, Corryn's going to take advantage of that. Missed opportunity there. Throw up a center guard.
Yeah, guard the red as much as anything else, because that red could still be run into the 2 blues. And then, Kayla's going to have to, it'll depend where this one ends up. She'll have to make a decision. Are we trying to run this into the red, into the blues, or do we try to double peel the guards? Which, again, it's going to depend on what kind of angles they leave up front. See, they kind of want to sweep for curl, but this is getting tight to the rings. Well, she's thinking about the triple. Straight back on the center guard.
Kayla at this point is trying to clear it up so she'll have a shot to the 4-foot with her last one.
Well, you make this triple, you're sitting 2.
Yeah.
But, you're going to leave the center guard up. And if you hit this just slightly off, this is kind of an all or nothing shot.
And they're on it early. Trying to hold it. She might have been just a bit tight there.
Well, not the end of the world. You still have to guard that one in the 8-foot. And at the worst, you're still going to have the angle in on the blue. There should be some double peels available, but we are getting late in the end.
So Corryn wants her guard a little bit higher this time.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have to anticipate Kayla's going to try to run something in. So separation, whether she's running it in to play a double peel or into the ones in the house. So you want as much separation, a little more separation as there is, the harder that shot becomes. Got to get to the line. Should. It's borderline did it over curl enough you could play the port? Can't get the
It's
double,
pretty
but
tight. It probably looks really big from the hack at the other end.
you're
That
not
hole.
getting the double anyway. You're only getting the one in the 8 foot. You could hit the wider guard, come off the back end of the one that was just thrown, and try to get into the rings somehow. Can she see enough of the blue in the 12 foot to make the triple? It's close.
Yeah. And if you don't, you're going to hit that other blue one off. Peel it off. It would go on to the red.
Yeah,
You might get
that's-
something out of that too.
Looks like that's what they're playing. Not sure what she's eyeing up now. Well, I thought they were playing the blue in. Are they playing the double peel over the top, maybe?
I think they're playing
one
that
that
front
was,
one, it looks like.
yeah, over the top of the one in the 12 foot and then try to slash it back. So now your shooter could come across and kill the other blue guard, but you're probably staying there, I would think. I don't think she's trying to run this through the port this time.
Well, if anybody can make that, Brittany could.
Well, she's trying to run it through the port now.
Oh. Yeah. That's not a bad shot. She
Yeah.
cleared it up.
She's
Got
got
rid
shot
of
at
two.
shot at the back 8 foot now, and it's covered.
Right. Can we see the replay on that one? There we go.
Doesn't hurt me to not have a telestrator on this one because I could never have drawn all these.
Yeah.
She's got a tick on the red, a tick on the blue, a tick on the last blue, and then with the action on these stones and the spin on a couple of them, she moved 5 stones on that one.
That is a great shot by Brittany Tran.
Yeah, got rid of all the overlaps. They're not entirely out of trouble.
Corryn has an opportunity here to come around and put one behind that guard. She wants to try and force Kayla to take her 1 point here, ideally. She a little light there?
Yeah, or a lot. Maybe fortunate that she didn't rub her own because at least she's got a draw path. Kayla's going to try to get there first.
Do you think that's just coming through that center area? It's maybe
Could be.
tightened up a little bit.
Getting flat, getting a little fudgy. Pick the figure of speech you like, but the pebble starts to wear down a little bit. And of course, so much of the play goes to the middle. Yeah, that's a possibility.
Kayla's
And
trying
that's
to
one of
decide
those-
which side to come. She's going to have fresh ice if she comes out with the out turn or comes in with the out turn.
Sorry, Penny, I was just carrying on that thought. That was one of those things. We talked about it a bit off the air. In the 4 games that Corryn has had, she's had a couple of blowouts. So they maybe haven't seen the 9th end as many times as they'd
Okay.
like to, and maybe just didn't know what the speed might be doing down the middle.
That's a good point. Kayla's taking the opportunity to go out into the fresh ice where she doesn't have to go down that center. Should be pretty nice out here.
Well, she'll hope so. This is out onto that wide side on the board side, and we've seen it be
rocks stay
heavy.
straight.
Yeah, and they can run quite heavy out here too. And she's out probably wider than anything we've seen yet. She has to be. I mean, that's the only way she's getting by. But she's got a lot of rotation. That will help it carry. Rushers look like they want to go when they're waiting on a line call.
Yeah. Must be close. Starting to move now. Now they're sweeping for distance. Kayla's got a great shot in there.
Yeah, that's really good. And a path where she was largely guessing. That's a great spot. All Corryn can try to do is freeze the corner of it. She won't
Try
be
and
shot
shrink
rock.
her house a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, she just threw it down this spot, so she should have a good grasp on the weight now. I don't think Kayla could have placed that rock any better.
No, you couldn't. That's perfect. Like all she can do is freeze to it. If she makes the freeze perfect, you don't have a ton of room, but you still got room to go just a little bit wider and grab the edge of the forefoot and get your second point. This is not a gimme. That's not a big hole the way these rocks curl. She rubs either one of those blue ones going by, and this could be 3.
Last rock for Corryn Brown in the 9th end.
They were just cleaning early still.
Now she's carving it for a little bit of curl.
Oh, is she going to bounce too far? Pretty good, I think.
Pretty good shot. Kayla does have an easier shot to get her to, than she would have if that rock was still sitting there.
Yeah, she can actually come to it's the same shot she just threw. She can come to the face of her own and have 2. Whereas, if she doesn't move it, she has to actually come by her own stone, which would have meant she'd had to go a little bit wider. It's the exact same shot, basically. She's still not thrown to a large piece of real estate here, though.
No, she's not. It's not an easy shot. Last shot in the 9th end for Kayla MacMillan. The draw for 2. Sweepers are keeping it clean.
Yeah, we got a brush down quicker this time, but now they feel like it needs to curl.
I don't think this is going to come up enough for her. So she takes 1. So we have a tie game going into the 10th end of our game. We'll see you in a minute.
Aztec Safety is #1 for online safety training.
Aztec Safety is the proud sponsor of the Aztec Safety Challenge, the #1 event on the World Curling Tour.
And Aztec Safety has been a proud sponsor of Team Jacobs on our quest to represent Canada at the Olympic Games.
Can't rub the guard. Two rocks and 3 in the forefoot, 2 guards and 3 in the forefoot, but yours
Got 1 guard. Is there 2 more games today?
There is, but the next draw doesn't have any women's games in it.
Welcome back to the 10th end of the BC Men's and Ladies Provincial Curling Championships presented by Best Western. We are in the 10th end of a 10-end game. It will be. We have a tie score. They're tied. MacMillan is got the hammer coming home. And Corryn Brown has put up her center guard with her lead's first rock. Oh,
That's
should
the other.
say the opposite.
Yes,
Sorry.
the other way around. Yep.
I was looking at where the hammer was on the scoreboard and I got confused there. So
They came a lot tighter than they would have liked to and overcurled with that second guard. So there's some angle there. Corryn Brown here is just going to want to open up the center line as soon as she can. Now, she can't early, so she's trying to throw 2 to the top of the forefoot behind cover. And then while Kayla MacMillan is trying to deal with those, she'll peel the guards. Probably peel them one at a time. Even though there's angle there for the double, that would come back into the middle. And
Corryn's got 2 great shots there.
she's sitting pretty good in the middle right now. Probably have to, if you're the MacMillan team, try to move that a little bit. Like, you'd like to get right to the face. You don't want to roll your shooter off at all, but you'd like to move one of them behind the tee line if you could too.
Sean, you were talking about how important those first 4 rocks of the end are in a tough game like this.
Well, and every end, like every end that we've watched, it's a case of the first 5 script out how the rest of the end is going to go. It's all about getting those angles in position. And this even is going to roll off, and that's going to allow the chance to just straight peel the guards. She could play the double peel even. Thinking about just peeling the tight one. It's probably the bigger threat, but they're going to go after the higher one. You could even make a case, it's probably more risk than you'd want to take. You could probably hit this one right on the nose and get all 3 reds. You could leave just the one guard. But easier to just play single peels.
And Sarah's done that.
Yeah, MacMillan still has 2 rocks in the middle she has to deal with. So while she's dealing with those ones in the middle, you've got plenty of time to peel the guards. This to me looks like she's making a play into the house here. I'd be throwing another guard.
Yeah, she doesn't have the ice for a guard. Got a little more weight.
Is she playing the top back maybe?
She's on the front guard.
Yeah, I don't know what they were playing, but now she's got nothing on the center line front. That's... Yeah, it gets simpler now for Corryn Brown. In fact, you might even get a bonus here and kill one of those 2 reds off the side with this.
Sarah, the second on Team Brown, throwing her last rock. And she gets the 1. So now Kayla is forced to put up a guard, which we kind of thought maybe she should have done.
I thought she should have done it last time. You know that Brown's going to peel it, but you keep her busy peeling guards for a little bit before you try to make the play in the house. And now you maybe want to think about where you're playing this guard. Now, she's just playing it out of habit on the center line, but that makes the peel pretty easy. You might want to think about throwing the guard a rock's width at least off the center line on this side, so about lined for about right there and tight to the rings, because then there's all kinds of shrapnel behind it that you could jam it into when you try to play the peel. Right now, there's nothing on, as we look at Corryn, there's nothing on the right-hand side of the sheet, so if you hit it anywhere on the broom side, there's no jam possible. I did think on the last one, when as soon as Sarah had a piece, I thought they'd brush that one a little bit harder and try to take out one of those reds on the side.
Right.
Because those are all just rocks that something could get jammed in off of later. So they're going to try to peel it that way and take one of those reds this time. Got one of them. I'm not sure that made it any better for you. There was potential for that to go bad.
It was trying to go bad.
Yeah,
I mean, it was
they,
coming back in.
They did nudge that one ever so slightly more into the forefoot, but so now they're going to look to make the play on the two blues in the middle, and critical to be right on the nose here. You want to keep your shooter dead in front of the other blue stone so that it can't really be removed. You'd like to keep the back one in the back of the house, but more important to keep your own in a good position. And that rolled off too.
Both teams haven't used their timeouts yet. Corryn's got lots of time. Oh,
Yeah.
There we go. There's a timeout.
Let's
talk about it.
I think you're just hitting that one on the center line side. Try to move all three reds. Yes, it might jam on something at the back, or your shooter might take out your own at the top of the forefoot. But if everything ends up behind the tee line, you know you've got an open shot for your last one.
That's right.
She's worried about one red coming off onto that blue at the back 12. I don't think you can really worry about that.
No, because it will be, like you said, behind the tee line.
Yeah.
So
there's no guards left. If you get rid of everything in front of the tee line, you're going to have a relatively open shot for your last one.
So their coach is Jim Cotter from the Vernon Curling Club. Jim's well known to BC and across Canada as being one of the best curlers.
He's almost pulling triple duty here.
I know he's curling in this as well.
And his daughter's playing.
And his daughter's playing. That's right.
So he's player, he's coach, and he's dad, all at the same time, and none of them on the same sheet. So I could ask him which one makes him more nervous, but I'm pretty sure I already know the answer. It's probably going to be watching the daughter. Yeah.
I asked him, "Are you coaching her too?" He goes, "Oh, I can't coach them too. Like I committed to Corryn Brown and." So they've got Doug Dalzell coaching them.
She would have been about 15 at the time, 15 and then 16, coming to, he played with her in mixed doubles nationals 2 years in a row when it was held at my home club, and I was announcing at it. She's 15 and 16, and she had, each year had one of the, would have been a highlight shot, like it would have made the replays, because one of them, it was just, she just threw what dad told her to throw. I don't even know if she knew how hard the shot was and just made it. But there's a good shot too. Cleared out a couple. It actually did pass the one at I think they were a little worried it was going to jam the one at the back. Not that that needed to be a worry, but there's a clear path to the button right now. Kayla's
so Corryn's looking to just, or Kayla, yeah, tap it back.
Tap it straight back. Leave it dead even with the other blue. You won't be shot, but if you can leave a pocket back there, that's all you can. You need something to work with right now. You don't have much to work with right now. If you can leave a pocket, Corryn's going to hit something, and then you try to put something in front of the pocket and hope she jams it. You haven't had any guards for a while, so that's all you can work with is to try to have some kind of pocket back there and hope for a jam. This looks like it's going to be a little bit. Yeah, it's going to be a little strong to leave a pocket.
Okay, not exactly what she wanted. Too far back there.
Yeah. Corryn's
thinking about in the back, so
yeah, Corryn's thinking about playing the double. Now here's the risk with the double. You make the double. And now is where I wish I had the telestrator, because you draw where the blue rock will be after you make the double. It's going to leave her the out-turn freeze to the back one, and you're going to have to draw to beat her, assuming she locks the freeze on.
Corryn does have last rock here. Oh, she did exactly what you said.
Yeah, she got that little spin at the end, though. That's going to help because now this freeze, if she doesn't get that last little bit of a spin, it would have been maybe in the way. If you're only frozen on half the stone here, Corryn will be able to hit it.
Right.
The only thing I can see that they might be talking about. So basically, there's two ways to steal one. Either you have to get something buried, or in this case, frozen, or you make her look at 2 where she can't hit anything on the nose. Well, you could make her look at 2 here. There's a double there on the blues. Both rocks would be in the 8. She can't hit either one of them on the nose and be shot rock, so at least you force her to draw. It's really hard to make this freeze good enough because that last little spin she got at the end, if you're not dead on the nose on the freeze, she can probably blast it out.
Okay,
These
what
rocks
if you
are very
just came
lively.
around that blue rock at the top for just halfway? Show her half a rock right there.
Try to tempt
What
her to
about
pick
that?
it. Yeah, that's an option. She's actually looking to hit the back one and roll partly behind. I mean, it's there. This looks really tough.
So she did use her timeout.
Yeah.
Discussion with her coach. And I think she's doesn't have a whole lot of time here, but she's probably okay. Last shot for Kayla MacMillan. Looking to steal in the 10th end against Corryn Brown.
She's got a positive rotation anyway, but that was quite a big pop. She's got to get across the face.
They're not sweeping it for the curl yet, so
It's
must
trying.
be close.
Rolled too far.
It
I
did.
didn't like that call.
Okay, so Corryn Brown does not have to throw her last rock. She will win this game 6-5 against Kayla MacMillan after 10 ends. That's it for our draw. There is 2 more draws today. The ladies do not play in the afternoon, but they'll be back at it tonight. And enjoy your New Year's Day. Thanks, Sean.
I will say, Penny, with Corryn being 5-0 now, and considering who she's already played, I think she has clinched a spot in the playoffs. But it's yet to be determined which spot she'll have.
Right.